Hello, everybody. This is your teacher, Julian Marin, and I am happy to be with you. Today, we're going to review Martes de Prueba number 5 for 8th grade for the year 2025. So let's start by sharing, as always, our screen so we can give a look of what is it that we're going to be solving today, what kind of exercise. That is essentially the first step, analyzing what kind of exercise we're going to be solving. In this case, we're going to combine a variety of abilities. Of course, always present will be reading comprehension, critical reading, reading in context, or pragmalinguistics. In this case, also we will include the good use of the English language in terms of grammar. So that is why over here to the left, we can see text, and then we see some gaps that need to be filled with the options that we see on the right here in questions 21, 22, 23, and 24 and 25. We can see three options for each one. Now, in these cases, many times, you will find that the three options will make sense to you, and probably talking about the meaning of the sentence, it wouldn't change dramatically or drastically one option or the other. But definitely talking about language accuracy, the good use of language, one of them is the most appropriate, okay? So as always, we're going to start reading the text. Over here, what I see is an element in linguistics, in the use of language, that is called jargon. Jargon is the kind of terms, not necessarily terminology, because remember that terminology talks exclusively about language of specialty or specialized language. So in this case, we're talking about a specific group of people. Definitely, bikers around the world is a subculture. People who like to go on the road on their bikes. They gather, they make groups and all that. So therefore, in that interaction, the particularities of the group, they start using their own kind of language, and that's what we call jargon. So as we read, I'm going to give you some specific examples of this linguistic phenomenon. So let's start reading. I'm going to increase a little bit the size of the image so we can see in a better way the words as we read it. And then the situation in this exercise is that we need to start making decisions different from the exercises of strictly reading comprehension or critical reading, where first we could read the entire text and then we can go and answer the questions. In this case, on the run, we need to start making decisions. So over here, I told my wife it was either trike it or park it, said Mr. Howard, 74, wearing. So over here we have the first question. So over here we have wearing cowboy hat. So we need to decide wearing the cowboy hat, wearing a cowboy hat, or wearing an. So essentially over here what we need to choose, as I mentioned before, of course, is the most appropriate option. So I'm going to suggest that the correct answer here will be A. Okay? We have been told that we decide in these cases, we decide depending on the next letter. If it is a consonant, we will be using A. And if it is a vowel, we will be using N. In this case, we have a consonant. Now, let me mention, not always is depending on the consonant, but mostly on the pronunciation, the phonetic particularity of the word, the sound. Because sometimes you're going to find examples in which you have a consonant And then you should use N instead of F. So it's not a rule. Remember that in language, we don't talk too much about rules, because when we talk about rules, it's because every single time it will apply. But in linguistics, since it is a humanities discipline, we will find that every rule has an exception. Therefore, it is no longer a rule. Okay. So over here, I will suggest A. Okay. Wearing a cowboy hat and a bright yellow safety shirt. And she said, strike it. So over here, talking about the pragma linguistics, we can start talking about that jargon. So strike it, they will explain it ahead in the text, but that is one of the words. That is one of the words, okay? So let's continue and you see what I'm talking about. Mr. Howard is one of the legion of aging bikers, right? Right? Aging bikers means that they're getting ahead in life, they're growing old, suffering from aching joints and slowing reflexes. This is a characteristic as you grow old. Okay, two characteristics. Your joints start aching. You suffer from pain and slowing reflexes, which are necessary in this biking or biker subculture. Who have, okay, we're talking about Mr. Howard, but then we're talking about the aging bikers. So that is essential to understand, because first we're talking about a person and then we're talking about a group of people, right? So that is why in question 22 we have the options. Then it says who have. Some people probably judging fast will say, okay, we're talking about Howard, so it should be has, but no, we're talking about the 18 bikers, which is plural. So have is correct here. Who have what? Abandoned, abandon, or abandons. We can cancel C. C is not a good option because this will work in a singular and the third person, right? Then we have the two options, abandoned, the past participle, or abandoned, the infinitive or simple present. The option I suggest will be A, who have abandoned, who have abandoned the traditional two-wheel motorcycles in favor of three-wheelers. The super steady and seemingly safer machines commonly known as trikes. So over here they explain the concept. This is vocabulary, jargon, concept. Not, again, not a term because it doesn't make part of as a specialized language. Of course, this is very specific, it's cultural, and it is a subculture, indeed. Equal parts, easy rider, easy chair, okay, as trikes. Okay, so let me just, yeah, over here we have a dot, have a dot. So we continue reading here. Equal parts, easy rider. Over here, 23, we have and, but, or. So what we're saying here, what we're proposing are different possibilities to call these machines, the three-wheelers. As you have seen, we have one, three-wheelers. We have two, trikes. Then we have easy rider, and then we have easy chair. So far we have four different options how to call these machines that are characterized for not having two wheels, but three, right? So since it is an extra option, we're not going to use and because they're talking about the same machine, only different names. We're not going to use but the option that I will suggest will be or, right? Because we're given different options of how to call the machines. So the most appropriate answer will be or. Or easy chair, the trikes have grown in popularity in recent years, expanding from a do it yourself niche to a potentially lucrative market for major manufacturers. What they say here is that at the beginning, people assembled, constructed these machines on their own in their workshops, but then it became like a possibility for the manufacturers to produce them from their industry, right? From their own companies. Industry experts say the sale of tens of thousands of trikes, whose striker prices can rival an upscale sedans, has helped an industry in decline and kept a generation of born to run riders. We have question 24, born to run riders options in the roads, on the roads, or at the roads. This is one of the examples. If we put in, on, or at, that will not change the meaning of the sentence. Anyone who will read this sentence will understand the intention of communication, what they try to communicate. But definitely, there is only one option that would be appropriate. That would be on, because I mean, on the road, it's not in, it's not at, especially because they're moving, right? So over here, there's other, okay. What they're arguing is that, yes, these machines have become like a lifesaver to this industry that was in decline, meaning their sales were not as good, but now it is a good option for them. Let's continue to the last paragraph and also the last question. The baby boomers, which is a specific generation, the baby boomers are getting older, man, said Steve Stewart, a lifelong rider and motorcycle dealer from known as Fat Daddy by his friends. He's called by as Fat Daddy. People riding all their lives, we have 25. People riding all their lives want, so we need to connect here. People didn't want, doesn't want, or couldn't, don't want. We have the three options. So we should cancel uh, doesn't, because people, right? People do, right? Or don't. Doesn't is used with the third person, and people is plural. So we can cancel B. So people didn't, that's past. And we're talking the present and future, especially of the industry. That is the context. So I believe, I suggest as a correct answer, don't. So people writing all their lives don't want to stop just because of bad knees or bad eyes or diabetes or something. They want to keep rocking. Okay? That is essentially the argument of Fat Daddy. Okay, so with this, I believe we have finished the review for this Martes de Prueba number 5 for the year 2025 for the A2. I hope you have found it interesting, okay? And I thank you very much for watching. Inviting you also to click on like, subscribe, and promote the video so other people in the country, or why not around the world, could benefit from these reviews. Thank you very much. See you in a future occasion.